A true victim would come to the police immediately.
So they're listening to a story and they just don't buy it.
There were a lot of things that were suspicious, only because of the fact that he didn't come to us first.
She wondered, was he hiding something?
And now I know. Now I'm like really upset. You know, these guys aren't going to believe him.
But even though she isn't entirely buying it, Iris Deegan does begin looking into his story.
The first day I met Marc Schiller, after the interview, I went down to his residence on Ocotlico. I talked to one neighbor, and the neighbor told me, yes, that he knew Schiller, but had not seen him since November, and that since then, somebody else has taken over the house. I told myself, oh boy, this is good.
Maybe there was something to this after all, so she began examining the paper trail.
I had started to get the subpoenas for Schiller's offshore accounts.
But meanwhile, the bad guys are still living large.
They wanted everybody to believe they were high rollers. They were very good-looking men, and women liked them.
There are toys to buy, girlfriends to impress.
Party's inside.
But they're already beginning to run low on funds. After all, they had that lifestyle to maintain. Now how could they possibly make more money? Du Bois warns the cops that these guys are going to do it again.
I told him, I said, Iris, this is the meanest group of criminals that I have ever investigated. If you guys don't take them off the street, they're going to do this again. And she commented, I think you've been watching too much TV.
Deegan remembers it differently. She asks Schiller to take a polygraph to confirm he's telling the truth.
If I'd had access to Marc Schiller, those subjects would have been arrested.
But Marc Schiller, believing the police aren't taking him seriously, skips the polygraph.
I think the people that dropped the ball are Marc Schiller and Ed Du Bois. The Miami-Dade Police Department worked that investigation. What they didn't have was a willing victim.
If he'd have wanted revenge, he should have come to us at first.
In fact, Schiller leaves the country to rejoin his wife and kids, now living in Colombia.
He's out of here. The police aren't taking him seriously, and he goes back to South America, which is a shame, because had they listened to him, the next victims might still be alive.
Coming up, another day, another millionaire.
Hey, who is that?
Grigo, my ex-boyfriend.
And she says, oh, that's my ex-boyfriend. He's very wealthy.
That was their business plan. You know, find wealthy men, you know, have somebody finger them, and then go out and get them.
After surviving a brutal attack, Marc Schiller has two goals: get his money back and get justice for what he suffered. But his attempt to negotiate for his money has failed. And when he goes to the police, they aren't sure they believe him. Delgado and his crew are still on the loose, and Miami's crime rate is about to go up.
The Sun Gym gang was running out of money and looking for a new target.
Who owns that one, you know?
They were just about to find him. In the 90s, in exclusive Miami social circles, yellow was the new black, and everyone loved to show off. Hungarian millionaire Frank Griga fit right in.
And he was a guy who was living the American dream. He had a beautiful house in Sunny Isles. He had a beautiful girlfriend. He felt like the world was his, and it was.
Griga had made his millions in a new all-American innovation, phone sex. He had a yacht, a palatial mansion, a bombshell girlfriend named Christina Furton, and now a set of stalkers who were looking to pull off a repeat performance of what they'd done with Marc Schiller. It was Doorball who had found him.
Noel Doorball is sitting there with his girlfriend, stripper, going through her photo album, and he sees a picture of this young guy next to a beautiful yellow Lamborghini, and he said,
Hey, who is that?
Grigo, my ex-boyfriend.
And she says, oh, that's my ex-boyfriend. He's very wealthy.
They had a business plan. That was their business plan. You know, find wealthy men, you know, have somebody finger them, and then go out and get them.
That was who Danny wanted to be, and that was who Doorball wanted to be. They wanted to be Frank Griga, but they weren't.
I would say about $1.5 million, $2 million.
Lugo and Doorbal approach Griga with a business deal and ask him and his girlfriend over to Doorbal's apartment.
They've bought everything they need for the kidnapping. They bought Rompum, a tranquilizer that is used on horses. They're going to take everything they had, just like they did with Marcelo Schiller.
There was a ruse, a plan. Doorbal would take Frank into the bedroom.
Definitely want to take a couple days, think about it.
But right from the start, it goes terribly wrong.
Danny Lugo is sitting with Christina Furton, and Noel Doorbal says to Frank, "Oh, come on in the bedroom."
Put some cables through the roof.
Nice. But she starts hearing this clamoring and this banging and all this stuff, and she gets up and is shocked to find Griga in a chokehold and is basically killing her.
Doorbal was a steroid user, a man that I don't think knew his own strength.
She screams and immediately injected with Rompum, and the plan is already going south.
Dude, he doesn't have a pulse. What the hell?
Before they ever get a dime, Frank Griga is now dead, and they don't have a penny.
Certain recriminations are voiced.
Saw him, bro. He started fighting with
Jeez.
They amuse themselves until she starts coming to. They resolve that they can at least get Christina to get them into Griga's mansion.
And as she comes to, she starts crying and asking to see Frank, who she saw just hours ago being murdered. And they say, we'll let you see Frank. What are the codes to the house?
I don't know. I don't know.
They slap her. They ask her for the codes.
But they've injected her with horse tranquilizers. So she's not the most coherent, and she's certainly not the most cooperative. But they keep pushing her, and they inject her with some more, and she rattles off some numbers, which they write down.
Lugo drives to the mansion, but the code doesn't work. So he calls Delgado and Doorbal, who were at the house.
Danny Lugo, on speakerphone, dials Noel Doorbal and says, "I need another code. The code didn't work. Get one."
Hold on.
And at this point, Doorbal gets back on the phone, and his words to Danny is,
"Yo, man, this bitch is cold."
Christina was shot with enough horse tranquilizer to kill 4 1,000-pound horses.
So now they've got 2 dead bodies and not a dime. So what do you do?
Mr. Lugo went to Home Depot and used his own credit card to purchase a power saw to dismember the bodies.
And the case is particularly gruesome in that respect because the chainsaw gets caught in Christina's hair and it tangles up and it won't work. So they just throw it aside and they pull out their trusty axe.
And they were put into one of those big oil drums. Then they disposed of them someplace in the Everglades.
They say each man's death diminishes us. But does it diminish us less if we get to drive his Lamborghini? Meanwhile, Frank and Christina are missing, and their friends and family are frantic.
They call the police. And where were they last seen? Well, they were last going to dinner with Danny Lugo and Noel Doorbal. And somebody goes, "What?
Your life insurance policy.
Weren't those the 2 guys that Schiller guy told us kidnapped them?"
Homicide asked me if I was investigating the Marc Schiller case, and I told them I was. And they told me there had been a kidnapping. Well, I felt terrible, of course.
And all of a sudden, everything hits the fan.
Screw them. They're paid to be in detectives and do the case right, and they didn't do it.
I got a call from Ed. Tells me that they did it again.
29213 18th Avenue South.
On June 3rd at 7 a.m., 75 police officers swooped in to arrest Doorbal and Delgado and their accomplices.
Do you see Delgado? Where is he?
Noel Doorbal, George Delgado, all in custody.
As they were being arrested, was each of them